Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's session with our presentation titled, A Guide to Understanding the Mind. This is a fascinating journey into the world of health and mental well-being. Over the next few slides, we'll explore what the mind is, how it works, and ways to nurture mental health. So, let's get started and dive into this important topic together. Good mental health is essential because it helps us manage stress more effectively, making it easier to handle the challenges life throws our way. When our mental health is strong, we're also better equipped to make positive choices that benefit us and those around us. It plays a key role in building and maintaining strong, healthy relationships, which are so important for our overall well-being. Now you might be wondering, what exactly do we mean by mental health? Well, it's a state of emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It influences how we think, feel, and behave every day. It's also the foundation for our overall sense of well-being. When our mental health is in good shape, we're more resilient, more capable of coping with life's ups and downs, and more likely to thrive in different areas of our lives. So, as we go through this presentation, keep in mind that mental health isn't just the absence of mental illness. It's a vital part of our overall health and a cornerstone of a balanced, fulfilling life. Mental health matters because it touches every aspect of our lives. When our mental health is in good shape, it positively impacts our daily routines, our relationships with others, and even our physical health. It's also a key factor in how productive we are and how we overall feel about ourselves and our lives. Think about it, mental health isn't just about feeling happy or sad. It influences how we handle stress, make decisions, and connect with people. And it's important at every stage of life, from childhood to old age. So, understanding why mental health is so essential helps us recognize its role in our overall well-being. It's a reminder that taking care of our mental health is just as important as caring for our physical health. This sets the foundation for the rest of today's discussion on how we can support and improve mental health for ourselves and those around us. Teenage is a very important stage of life. During this time, your body is changing in many ways, and your mind is also going through a lot of development. Along with these changes, your responsibilities tend to increase, which can sometimes feel overwhelming. Because of all these shifts, many teenagers face emotional challenges. But it's important to remember that experiencing these feelings is completely normal. The key is to understand what you're going through and know that you're not alone in facing these issues. Recognizing these common problems helps us better navigate this important stage and supports our overall well-being. So let's talk about why the 10th standard can be such a stressful time for students. First, there's the pressure of the board examinations, which can feel overwhelming because they often determine your academic future. Then, there are your parents' expectations. Sometimes they want you to excel, and that can add a lot of stress. Fear of failure is also a big factor. Nobody wants to fall short or disappoint others. We often compare ourselves with friends, which can make us feel like we're behind or not good enough. Social media adds another layer of distraction, pulling your attention away from studies and adding to your anxiety. Lastly, there's the tension about your future career. Deciding what you want to do after these exams can feel like a huge burden. All these factors combined make this phase particularly challenging. That's why it's important to understand these stressors and find ways to manage them effectively. Stress is the body's reaction to pressure. When we face any challenge, difficulty, or pressure, our body and mind react. That reaction is what we call stress. For example, when exam dates are announced, you might notice your heart beating faster. Or if a teacher suddenly says, "surprise test," you might feel nervous all of a sudden. If your syllabus isn't complete, you start worrying about how to catch up. All these feelings of worry, tension, or fear are what we refer to as stress. But it's important to remember that stress isn't always a bad thing. It's actually a natural response our body has to help us deal with challenges. Understanding this helps us see stress not just as a problem, but as something our body uses to prepare us for action. Let's talk about constant worrying, which is a common experience among students with anxiety. These students often find themselves thinking about exams all the time, even when they're not studying. It could be while they're eating, watching TV, or even trying to sleep. This kind of persistent worry makes it really hard to relax. Their minds keep asking questions like, what will happen? Or what if something goes wrong? This continuous cycle of negative thoughts can be overwhelming. And because of this, it becomes difficult for them to focus on anything else. It's important to understand how this constant mental chatter can interfere with their daily lives and their ability to succeed academically. Recognizing this pattern is a key step toward finding ways to manage anxiety better. Many of us might experience feelings of sadness from time to time, but when these feelings persist for many days, it can be a sign of something more serious. You might notice a lack of interest in your favorite activities, even those you usually enjoy. It can feel like you're alone, even when you're with other people, which can be really isolating. Sometimes, you might find yourself crying without any clear reason, and that can be confusing or distressing. You might also start feeling a loss of energy, finding it hard to get through the day. Negative thoughts about yourself can creep in, making you feel worse. These are all signs of depression, and it's important to recognize them. Depression is more serious than just feeling stressed or sad for a day. It's a persistent condition that can deeply affect your mood, thoughts, and daily life. Recognizing these signs early can help you seek the support you need. Remember, depression is not just about feeling sad. It's a complex condition that requires understanding and care. Remember, depression is not a sign of weakness. It's a health condition, just like any other illness, and it can be treated. Sometimes students might say things like, "Nobody understands me," or "I am useless," or even "there's no point in trying." These feelings and thoughts are common among those experiencing depression, but it's important to recognize that they are symptoms, not truths. Depression can make you feel isolated and hopeless, but it's vital to remember that help is available. Reaching out and seeking support can make a real difference in recovery. So, if you or someone you know is struggling, remember, depression is treatable, and no one has to face it alone. On this slide, we're looking at the mental and emotional effects that can occur under stress. You might notice that small things suddenly feel very frustrating or irritating. It's like your patience wears thin quickly. Sometimes, you might find yourself crying without really understanding why. This is a sign that your emotional control is weakening. Fear and anxiety are also common, especially around exams, fear of failing, or worrying about how others might judge you. These feelings can become overwhelming if not managed properly. Negative thinking is another key point. Your mind may start focusing only on worst-case scenarios, which can make the situation seem even more dire than it actually is. And finally, low confidence can creep in, leading you to feel like you're not good enough, which can really affect your motivation and overall performance. All of these effects are interconnected and can feed into each other, so recognizing them early is crucial. This helps us understand how stress impacts not just our body, but our mind and emotions as well, and how important it is to develop strategies to manage these feelings effectively. Let's talk about some of the physical effects stress can have on our bodies. First, headaches are a common response, often caused by tension building up in our muscles and the mental overload we're experiencing. When our mind is racing, it can lead to persistent headaches. Next is insomnia or sleeplessness. When we're stressed, our brains find it hard to relax, even when it's time to sleep. This lack of rest can really take a toll on our overall health. Then there's tiredness and weakness. Stress drains our energy, making us feel physically exhausted and weak throughout the day. Finally, stress can also impact our digestive system, leading to stomach problems. When we're under pressure, our digestion can get disrupted, causing discomfort or other issues. All of these physical effects are closely linked to how stress affects us overall, highlighting why managing stress is so important for our health and well-being. Now, let's take a closer look at some of the academic or performance effects that can arise. One of the most common issues is a lack of concentration. When your focus is scattered, it becomes really hard to stay engaged with your studies or work effectively. This can lead to missing important details or not fully absorbing the material. Another key point is forgetfulness. If you're struggling to remember what you've studied, it might be a sign that your brain isn't processing or consolidating information as well as it should. This can affect your ability to recall facts during exams or while completing assignments. Finally, there's the tendency to avoid work. When concentration drops or forgetfulness increases, procrastination often follows. You might find yourself putting off tasks, which only adds to your stress and hampers your overall performance. All these effects are interconnected and can significantly impact your academic success. Recognizing them is the first step toward addressing the underlying issues and improving your focus and retention. Let's talk about how negative thinking can actually make stress worse. When our thoughts become fearful and repetitive, it can really escalate our stress levels. For example, we might find ourselves thinking, "What if I fail?" Or, "My parents will be disappointed," or even "My future will be ruined." These kinds of thoughts create an imaginary pressure that builds up even before anything bad actually happens. Our brain perceives these thoughts as real danger, which causes our anxiety to keep increasing. Essentially, negative, repetitive thoughts can trap us in a cycle where stress feeds itself, making it harder to stay calm and focused. Recognizing this pattern is a crucial step in managing stress effectively. Let's talk about overthinking. Overthinking is when we start to think too much about small problems. Instead of seeing them for what they are, we create big problems in our minds. For example, if you haven't prepared one chapter, you might think, "I'm going to fail the whole exam," which is probably an exaggeration. Or if you get a low mark, you might tell yourself, "I'm useless," even though one grade doesn't define you. Or if a teacher scolds you once, you might think, "The teacher hates me," which isn't necessarily true. Anxiety plays a big role here because it makes these small issues seem much bigger than they really are. Recognizing this pattern is important because it helps us understand how overthinking can distort reality and increase stress. Let's talk about the fear about future results. You see, anxiety is often focused on what's coming next, rather than what's happening right now. Students especially tend to worry about their board exam results. It's a huge milestone, and the outcome feels like it will define their future. They also fear their parents' reactions. The pressure to meet expectations can be overwhelming, and many worry about disappointing those who care about them. Comparison with relatives is another common concern. It's easy to get caught up in measuring ourselves against others and feeling like we're falling short. And of course, there's the broader worry about career and future prospects. Students often wonder, what next? Will I succeed? Will I have a good life? Interestingly, even before the exams are over, many start feeling like they've already failed. It's as if the fear of the outcome begins to overshadow their efforts. This slide reminds us how much anxiety about the future can affect students' mindset and well-being. It's important to recognize these fears so we can learn to manage them better. So let's talk about what anxiety actually is. It's important to understand that anxiety is quite different from normal stress. When we face real pressure, like knowing we have an exam tomorrow, that's stressful but usually manageable. Anxiety, on the other hand, involves a different kind of mental process. It's when we start thinking about things over and over again, even if they haven't happened yet. Our minds might imagine the worst-case scenarios, blowing things out of proportion. We begin to fear something that hasn't even happened, creating a lot of unnecessary worry. Think of it like your brain is playing a scary movie about your future, constantly showing you the worst possible outcomes, even if they might never occur. Recognizing this distinction is key because it helps us understand why anxiety can feel so overwhelming, even when there's no immediate threat. Understanding this difference is a crucial step in managing anxiety and learning how to cope better with these persistent, often unhelpful thoughts. Sometimes, a little stress can actually be a good thing. For example, before an exam, a bit of tension can motivate you to study more seriously. Or, before a competition, a touch of nervousness can push you to prepare thoroughly. Even approaching a deadline, that pressure can help you focus and work efficiently to finish your tasks on time. This kind of stress is what we call positive stress or good stress. It actually encourages us to act, stay active, and keep our focus sharp. So instead of seeing all stress as negative, it's important to recognize that small amounts of it can be quite beneficial, especially when it helps us perform at our best. Let's look at some international examples of well-known figures who faced mental health challenges. First, we have Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian of all time. Despite his incredible achievements, he's been open about struggling with depression and suicidal thoughts after the Olympics. His story reminds us that even those who seem to have everything can face deep emotional struggles. Next is Prince Harry. After the death of his mother, Princess Diana, he experienced significant anxiety and grief. His honesty about these feelings helps break down the stigma around mental health, showing that grief and anxiety are universal experiences. Then there's Michael Jackson, often called the King of Pop. He faced enormous stress, loneliness, and anxiety, largely due to extreme fame and the pressures of childhood stardom. His story highlights how early fame can impact mental well-being over time. Finally, Albert Einstein. While known for his genius, he also struggled with social isolation and emotional challenges at different points in his life. His experiences show that even highly intelligent and successful individuals can face emotional difficulties. These examples connect to our overall theme by illustrating that mental health issues are universal, crossing borders and professions. No matter who we are, these challenges can affect anyone, and recognizing them is the first step towards support and understanding. Let's take a closer look at some inspiring national examples of resilience. First, we have Anushka Sharma, who has openly spoken about her struggles with anxiety disorder. Despite facing this challenge, she continues to thrive in her career, demonstrating that mental health issues can affect anyone, regardless of success. Next is Mary Kom, a legendary boxer. She faced immense stress, criticism, and personal struggles while balancing her demanding sports career with her family life. Her journey shows us the importance of resilience and perseverance in overcoming personal and professional obstacles. Then we have APJ Abdul Kalam, a true national hero. He grew up in poverty and faced numerous failures early in his life. When the SLV-3 project failed in 1979, he experienced enormous pressure and disappointment. Yet, he persisted and eventually became one of India's most respected scientists and leaders. Finally, there's Deepika Padukone, who suffered from depression during the peak of her career. Her openness about her mental health struggles has helped break stigmas and encourages others to seek help. These stories remind us that setbacks and struggles are part of the journey. What matters most is how we respond and keep moving forward. Now let's talk about how we can control our thoughts. It's so important to recognize negative thoughts when they pop up. For example, if I catch myself thinking I will fail, I can consciously replace that with a more positive and realistic thought like I will try my best. Similarly, if I think I am not smart, I can shift that to I can improve. And when I feel overwhelmed and think my future is ruined, I remind myself that one exam does not decide my life. These small changes are powerful because they help us develop a more positive mindset. Remember, controlling your thoughts is about being aware and intentionally choosing to focus on encouraging and constructive ideas. This is a key part of building resilience and staying motivated, no matter what challenges come our way. All right, as we wrap up, I want to emphasize one main idea. Take care of your mind. Your mental health is truly more important than any marks or grades. Remember, stress is temporary. It's just a moment in time. Your life is bigger than one exam or one setback, so keep that perspective. When negative thoughts creep in, try to replace them with positive actions, small steps that boost your confidence and well-being. If you're ever feeling overwhelmed, don't hesitate to talk to someone you trust. Sharing your feelings can make a huge difference. And most importantly, believe in yourself. You are capable and strong, and you've got this. So always prioritize your mental health. It's the foundation for everything else in your life. All right, let's talk about taking care of your mind, which is the heart of this conclusion. First, I want you to flip that question in your head from "What if I fail?" to "What if I succeed?" It's a powerful shift that can really change your mindset and open up new possibilities. Instead of fearing failure, start focusing on what success could look like. Next, it's so important to learn from our mistakes. Instead of seeing them as setbacks, see them as opportunities to grow. Every mistake teaches us something valuable, and that's how we improve. Keep reminding yourself daily that I am improving, because that positive affirmation fuels your progress. And remember, protecting your peace is more valuable than striving for perfection. Our mental and emotional well-being should always come first, because when you're at peace, everything else becomes easier to handle. Finally, always remind yourself that you are more than your marks, your fears, or even one single result. Your worth isn't defined by a test score or a moment of failure. You are a whole person with limitless potential. So, take care of your mind. It's the foundation for everything else in your life. All right, as we wrap up, let's focus on the key message. Taking care of your mind is essential. Remember, making small, consistent efforts every day can really add up and help reduce the pressure you might feel. It's not just about the results. What really matters is the effort you put in along the way. One bad day doesn't define your whole life, so don't be too hard on yourself. When you face challenges, take a deep breath, pause, and respond thoughtfully instead of reacting in panic. Comparing your journey to others can be a trap. Everyone's path is unique, so focus on your own progress. Getting enough sleep is also crucial. When you're tired, your mind feels more stressed, which only makes things harder. And finally, don't hesitate to ask for help. Remember, strong people are those who speak up and seek support when they need it. So, take these points to heart and prioritize your mental well-being every day. Thank you so much for being here today. I truly appreciate your time and attention. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize the importance of a healthier mind. Remember, taking care of your mental health is just as vital as physical health. It involves managing stress, staying positive, and nurturing your emotional well-being. When your mind is healthy, it positively impacts your overall quality of life, your relationships, and even your physical health. Keep in mind that small, consistent steps can lead to significant improvements over time. So, I encourage you to prioritize mental health in your daily routine. Together, we can aim for a healthier, more balanced life. Thank you once again, and I wish you all the best on your journey toward a healthier life.